Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the New Day with Natalie podcast. In today's episode, we are going to dive into the avoidantly attached person's mind and understand the 5 emotional stages that an avoidant experiences when in a relationship. I did make a video about this on TikTok and you guys really enjoyed it, so I figured we just dive deeper into this subject. The first stage that the avoidant individual will experience in a relationship is actually feeling quite anxious. And I know this is kind of ironic because their label or title is avoidant attachment, but avoidants actually act anxious in the beginning, and they also act obsessed in the beginning because they are excited about meeting someone new. Yes, they are scared of connection. They're scared to be vulnerable. But when you get to a point of being alone enough, like you have enough of these sad, lonely nights where you're just like, I wish I had someone that just understood me. Or maybe you have a bunch of friends that are all married or in a relationship and you're like, I just feel lonely. Well, if you feel that emotion enough, you'll actually start to want to put yourself out there, even if it's something that's scary. For an avoidantly attached person that's scared of connection and vulnerability and everything else, what they might do is recharge themselves and be in a headspace that makes them feel ready to go out and date, that makes them feel like they're ready to have a conversation and like put on their best face, right? Now, avoidantly attached people love competition, they love games, they love mystery, they love trying to figure out who is sitting across the table from them. They want to know what your dreams are, your passions. They want to know what makes you tick. They want to know everything about you, okay? And to them, it's kind of exciting to try to make you like them. Now, usually on a first date, this isn't with every first date, but it's very common, okay? Avoidantly attached people will go on a date with someone and they might just start talking a lot about themselves. You might not be attracted to that. It might feel like they're kind of bragging or just being like, this is all the money I have, or like, these are all the businesses I have, or like, I'm really cool because of XYZ. And you might just be sitting across the table like, okay, like it's not very attractive because they're not asking you questions, because they're just bragging, and it's like, I don't really want to go on a second date. Now, if you are in the headspace as the anxious, where you're like, I don't want to see this person again, I don't really have an interest, the avoidant will pick up on that energy and feel feel like you do not want to see them again. So they'll feel this game almost to try to change your mind about them. What they do is start to woo you and wow you and make you feel like you should be with them. You should hang out with them. You should start to feel romantic feelings towards them, right? And it's interesting because if the avoidant looks at a relationship at the beginning from the lens of, this isn't someone I'm not going on a date to marry this person, to have kids, to get a house, to get a fence, to get the dog, to sign my life away to this person. They don't look at the date in that way. Instead, they frame it from this lens of, I'm just going to hang out with someone. That's it. Or I'm just going to see this new person that I met that I find attractive. We'll see what happens, right? And if that lens switches from that mindset to, oh, I need to make this person like me, then the romance could come out, right? Like I'd like to take you to this fancy dinner. I'd like to take you on a boat and have brunch on the boat, which is what happened to me. Just like little things like that to make you feel like, wow, this person's really taking big steps to try to impress me. And when you're an anxiously attached person, it's like, I have a wall up. I'm not just gonna open up and show you my true authentic self on the first date. I don't even know you. But to the avoidant, it's like, here, this is everything I want to tell you about me. And here, I'm going to wow you and woo you and impress you. And to the anxious, it could feel like the avoidant over time is starting to share a lot. But usually what the avoidant shares on the first date and like a couple dates after, it's not actually information that they feel very vulnerable and private about. It's information that it sounds like it's something that they don't tell anyone, but it's usually something that everyone knows because they've shared. And it makes you feel like you should also share, because if they just said something that's very deep and they don't share with anyone, then you should also do the same so that you guys feel connected and closer, right? That is one of the techniques that avoidantly attached people can do to make you guys feel really close and connected. During this first stage, the avoidant will become obsessed with the anxious, and the reason why is because they need to get into your head to know what makes you happy so that they could give you what makes you happy so that you change your mind about them. Because if you were on like borderline about to say, I don't want to see you again, that means the avoidant is rejected. And the avoidant fears rejection like no other. Being abandoned, rejected, especially when they are putting in so much energy for this first date, energy, time, just like all of their energy to you on this first date and multiple dates after, and texting you and all these things, and then you just say, yeah, I don't really want to see you, they're going to become obsessed with you because you just rejected them. So now they need to reverse that somehow. So that's why the first date, second date, they try to make it, really amazing and just reach out to you and just like trying to build that connection. They will text you, they will make plans. It could kind of feel like love bombing in a way, but again, the avoidance intentions are never negative. They're not trying to hurt you, they're not trying to lead you on, they're not trying to love bomb you. They're just trying to not feel so alone. That's it. They're trying to feel like they're seeking connection, and in the process of trying to woo you and wow you and just hang out with you, they start to feel this connection. Okay, the feeling of new love, this thrill around, I might be feeling love, I might be feeling something new, like this is an emotion I normally feel. That emotion overrides the attachment fears in the beginning. Okay, so that's why your avoidant ex or partner typically acts very anxious in the beginning. Then we enter stage 2, where the avoidant and you both feel very secure and happy. So let's call this the honeymoon stage, and I'm sure you know what that means. Everything just feels light and fun and happy, and it's like it's so easy to be together because you both get each other, and it's just nice to sit in a room, not even talk, watch a movie. You could lay in a field of grass and stare at the sky for hours and be like, this is the best day ever, okay? So you guys might be physical, there might be some affection for each other. It's just this passion between you guys just flows naturally, and you just can't get enough, but it's perfect. You're not obsessed, you're just like present in the moment, and it just feels so good, okay? And so the most important thing about this stage is not only does the avoidant feel happy and secure, but so does the anxious. This feeling of security it's quite rare within the avoidant attached individual, and secretly the avoidant does crave this feeling all the time, but they just don't know how to get it, because in order to get it, you kind of need to go on a first date. You need to open yourself up. You need to be anxious and crave and be obsessed with someone. And then you roll back and it's like, this is good. And when the avoidant starts to roll back and not be super obsessed with you, but just like hang out a couple times and text you, a couple times a week, it feels really good. But that's when things start to flip, because the anxious person will then become super anxious. So the anxious might feel secure during the honeymoon stage, but then they will feel extremely anxious and obsessed with the avoidant later on. Okay, so then we enter into stage 3, which is when the avoidant attached individual begins to deactivate and they start to feel stress, they start to feel anxiety, and the pressure begins to build. Okay, so in this stage, the avoidant attached individual will start to not be as sexually passionate about being with you, and the avoidant will start to slow down the amount of affection that they apply to the relationship. And the reason why this happens is because the avoidant attached individual was very secure before, right? Very happy, very much like, this is what I want. This is actually really good. But avoidantly attached individuals have this deep-rooted belief that their identity revolves around being independent, autonomous, taking care of themselves, leaning on themselves, like figuring out everything on their own. And the minute they start to date someone else, they start to feel like their identity is crumbling. Why? Because now they don't do everything on their own. Now you guys are a unit, you're a team, you're a pair. And so the things they used to do alone is now something they do with you, which is nice sometimes. But if they dare do something by themselves, you will be frustrated. You will be jealous. You will be mad. You will be like, okay, that's fine. But they know deep down you're pissed off, and they feel like you are blaming them for their sadness. It could feel like you are blaming them for this disconnect in the relationship if you bring up that conversation. So avoidantly attached people, when they start to feel like they're distancing themselves from their own identity because they're in a relationship with you, it scares them. So to kind of redirect and recalibrate, what they do is pull back. They take some time alone, even if it's going to hurt you. They don't text you as much. They might not say good morning, because to them, it's like, I want freedom. I want independence. And freedom to me means I'm going to go drive and hang out with my friends 3 hours away and not text you when I get there. And when maybe I sleep over at their place or I get a hotel. And freedom to me means I don't text you goodnight. I don't have to tell you where I am every 2 seconds. You're not my mom. And so that's how the avoidant can feel. It's like, I'm rebelling. I don't need to update you all the time. Like, I'm fine. I'm, either like a grown man, and I don't have to tell you that I'm okay when I arrive somewhere. Or I'm an independent woman. Like, I can fend for myself. I don't need your help. I don't need to lean on you all the time. So it's like this alter ego almost comes out of this new avoidant person that was once secure, and now all of a sudden they're like, I want to be the version of me that I once was. I miss that version of me, right? So what they do is start to distance, they start to rebel, they don't text you as much, they're not making as many plans, and that naturally will trigger the anxious attachment. So the anxious person will start to feel like you are distancing because you are on the verge of breaking up with me, or rejecting me, or just leaving me all alone, abandoning me, right? And the anxious could get used to the avoidant leaving and coming back, traveling and coming back, not texting a good morning every once in a while. And the anxious can learn, like, that's okay. They'll always come back. But over time, the anxious will start to get pissed off and scared and worried, and they'll feel all the emotions. They'll be living in their sympathetic nervous system, where they're in fight or flight, and they're mobilizing constantly in order to calm down their nervous system, which will actually not calm down their nervous system. Mobilizing only makes things worse. So the anxious person will start to reach out even more, and they will start to become the obsessed, where they will set up dates, they will text, they will say the good morning text, they will do the good night text, they will do what the avoidant once did, because in the anxious's mind, they might think, well, the avoidant did it for me, I have to do it for them. They are feeling sad. They are feeling down. I need to make them happy. It's my job to make them happy. So I'm going to do what they did for me. I'm going to be a people pleaser. I'm going to be up in their space. I'm going to make them dinner. I'm going to make plans for us on Saturday. I'm going to text them today. I'm going to call them all day for 2 hours. And that is what overwhelms the avoidant. Okay, even me saying that, I'm just like, whoa, okay, calm down, girl. So the avoidant individual in this story will start to feel like they need to get away and recharge, because the relationship starts to feel like too much, okay? And I want to make this very clear. The avoidant does not think something's wrong with the anxious. The avoidant feels like something's wrong with this idea of a relationship, this vessel that you guys are in. They love you. They care about you. They think you're wonderful. They might even tell you that still, okay? But this idea of a relationship, that is the thing that is pulling down the avoidance. So the avoidance not pointing fingers at you, the avoidance pointing fingers at the relationship. And they know you want the relationship. You want the vessel. You don't want to just be two people kind of like hanging out. That's not what you want. You want the security, you want the reassurance, you want the validation. And so the relationship, or the ring on the finger, the marriage, the babies, the house, whatever it is for you, that is all part of the relationship. And that makes you feel secure. And if you don't have that, something's wrong, and you'll be that people pleaser. Now, avoidance, like I said, they will say the relationship and everything that comes with it is too much. So sometimes Sometimes the avoidant will just disappear, recharge, come away, and then come back. Maybe you'll feel the affection and the passion will be there, but then quickly it'll disappear again. So they'll have to, recharge, take some time away, and that can drive the anxious absolutely crazy. Now, the avoidant will start to feel very guilty, and they'll start to feel a lot of blame they'll start to feel a lot of shame because their inner dialogue goes something like this. I can't give them what they want. Okay. And they know you want a relationship. They know that you want something that is more consistent, like seeing them more often, right? Because the anxious probably told the avoidant that in the beginning, right? In stage 2, when the honeymoon was awesome. But the avoidant will start to tell themselves these things so much they start to believe it. Like, I can't give them what they want. And the longer I'm in a relationship with them, aka the anxious, then I'm doing them a disservice because I physically don't have the capacity to give them what they want. So why am I still in a relationship with them? Like, I'm hurting them. Every day I'm with them, I'm hurting them. Why am I here? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep falling into these type of relationships? Okay. And so that's why a lot of times avoidants will put a label on the relationship at the beginning and say like, oh, I don't do relationships, or, oh, like, we're just hanging out, because those two phrases make them feel like they're not stuck in that vessel that is a relationship. But when the anxious says, I want a relationship, and the avoidant cares and wants that anxious person to be happy, they might say, okay, sure, let's be in a relationship. But then it feels like a chokehold to the avoidant, and they'll quickly move through these stages a lot faster, okay? The anxious might feel like something is up. Odds are they definitely do. And usually the anxious won't say anything to the avoidant, but if the anxious does, the anxious will say something like, can you give me some reassurance that, you still want to be with me, that you still love me? The anxious might just feel super overwhelmed. Like, the anxious might feel like, do you even like me anymore? And they'll ask for reassurance. And the avoidant will typically in this stage comply and give the anxious what they want. Yes, I still love you. Yes, I care about you. I'm really overwhelmed. Like, life has just been really crazy right now. And it's hard to make time, but like, yes, I care about you. Yes, I want to make you happy. Okay. So at this point, the physical closeness to the avoidant attached individual will feel very suffocating. So, the two individuals might make up, and then it's like, okay, we're all happy, yay. But the anxious person will feel good because the avoidant, kissed them, touched them, had physical intercourse, right? And the anxious will be like, oh, everything's good. But the avoidant will be like, this is too much. Like, I don't feel anything anymore. Like, I can't give them what they want. It's like they're happy, but I'm faking it. I can't do this. But the avoidant still will not pull back. There's moments where they see this like, I'm happy, everything's okay. And then there's many moments where they do not. Then we enter into stage 4. And in this stage, the avoidant is going to idealize freedom and independence, okay? It is their North Star, gaining their independence back, something that the anxious stole from the avoidant, okay? So during this stage, the avoidant will daydream about being single again. They'll think, well, if I was single, I could just lay on the couch all Saturday and not have to text anyone that I just don't want to hang out, because I'll just do it. I don't have to cancel plans. I don't have to like buy dinner for anyone. I just have to lay on the couch, and that's where I want to be. That sounds really nice, or, if I was single again, I could start dating people again. I could start hooking up with people, like multiple people, and not feel bad about it. Like, that sounds really nice. Okay. Whatever the daydream is for the avoidant, they'll think about it on repeat all the time. So they're basically like rewiring their mind to feel like being in a relationship is not what I want. Being single is what I want, because then I could be my true self. It's like, remember that identity we talked about earlier? They feel more connected to their true identity, which is being independent, autonomous, feeling like they don't have to lean on a single soul besides themselves. And if they are who they really are, that feels free. That feels great. That feels like being single, which maybe I should be single. they'll start to associate the relationship that they have with the anxious as this idea of losing autonomy, of losing freedom. And at this point, they might start to point the finger and be like, you stole my freedom. Like, once we got into a relationship, this vessel that we entered into, now, because of that, you stole me, my identity. I don't know who I am anymore, my freedom. I want to do whatever I want on a Thursday. I don't want to have to call you. I don't want to have to text you. I don't want to have to validate you, listen to your problems. I don't want to be your parent. I don't want to do this. I can't do this anymore. Okay. So they will then start to truly believe that they feel like your caretaker, your parent, because maybe you, the anxious at this point, gets very comfortable with the avoidant, starts sharing all of their problems and leaning on their avoidant partner 100%, which can feel extremely overwhelming to the avoidant, and it can make the avoidant feel like they are the anxious person's parent. If you have a kid, you know what it's like when your kid is like, these are all my problems, make me happy. The avoidant has to be the one to make them happy. And that's what it feels like to be in a romantic relationship with an anxious when the avoidant is super overwhelmed, okay? So there are some internal narrative shifts as well. So the avoidant will start to say, like, a couple stages ago, like, I just need some space. And then it starts to become, I feel trapped in this relationship. And then it starts to become, I would be so much more happy on my own, okay? So as that narrative shifts, the avoidant will start to create more and more distance because they're rebelling and they're actually getting what they want by creating the distance, right? So again, less affection, less contact, less openness. Then all of a sudden we enter into stage 5. Stage 5 is when the pressure builds to a panic and then ends in a breakup, okay? So basically the nervous system of the avoidantly attached individual goes from fight or flight mode into the dorsal vagal complex, which is freeze, okay? And when they're in a freeze state, they basically are so dissociated from reality. They're feeling so much like numbness to all of their needs and emotions that they just decide, you know what? I don't think I feel anything for my partner anymore. And at this point, why am I even in a relationship? And all of those thoughts and beliefs from the previous stage of like, if I'm in a relationship with my partner, then I'm actually holding them back. And so I need to break up with them. Like, I can't be with them because I'm holding them back. Every day I'm with them, I'm hurting them. And so those thoughts start kicking in. And so every thought and narrative shift and belief they have, it's building blocks on top of each other that basically confirms their decision to break up. But we're not there just yet, okay? So when they are in freeze mode, they numb all of their emotions, all of their needs, and their needs could be being in a relationship, having someone that connects to them, that actually understands them and like can relate to them. That doesn't matter. They numb all of those needs, okay? And I mean, I will say, like, we'll just foreshadow when they do go through a breakup and they're all by themselves, they realize, wait, I do need those connections. I do need someone that understands me. And that the reason why they realize that after the breakup is because they're still in that freeze state after the breakup, unregulated nervous system state, and they'll slowly take it down a notch to fight or flight, which is mobilizing, right? So you're still unregulated in fight or flight, but you are now understanding and in line and can see what your needs are and actually hear your needs and feel your emotions in fight or flight. And you mobilize, and the avoidant will then reach out to you because they feel like, I'm sad, I'm alone, I need connection, this is what I need to mobilize and move to try to find what I need. And they could do that by dating a bunch of people, making new friends, getting a new job, overworking, taking substances, whatever it is, they're mobilizing to make themselves feel better, right? But again, it's still an unregulated nervous system state, and when you're not regulated, you are not thinking with clarity and making the best decisions. So let's go back to what I was just saying. In this stage, the avoidantly attached individual will feel like they have a variety of different panic attacks throughout the week, even throughout the day. And so their anxiety is actually at a peak at this point, which is ironic because it's kind of how the relationship started, right? Like they started feeling very anxious and obsessed with the anxious attached individual. Like, I need this person to like me because if they don't, I'm rejected. But at the end, they feel anxiety because it's like the anxious is smothering them. The anxious wants so much time with them, connection, energy from the avoidant, that the avoidant just doesn't have to give. They don't have that capacity within them to share with their anxious partner. So they start to feel anxiety because it's like, I can't be who you want me to be. I am not happy in this relationship. I don't want to hurt you. I feel stuck. I feel like you stole my freedom. I'm just not happy. I need to get out of this, but I don't know how. So the anxiety starts to build. Okay, so at this point then, the relationship will start to feel like a threat to their stability rather than a source of support, okay? Maybe in the honeymoon stage, it felt like, okay, us together is amazing. Like, I feel connected. I feel like you see me, you understand me. But at this point, I can't be with you because you are, whenever I'm with you, it just feels like a threat to my independence, to my freedom, to my identity, instead of feeling like a warm hug, right? Now, to the anxious, it could feel like being with the avoidant is actually really supporting them, but in reality, it's just driving them crazy because the anxious person's in fight or flight and the avoidant is in freeze. And so both individuals are in an unregulated state. It's just a recipe for disaster. So at this point, the avoidant will just feel like, you know what, a breakup is probably the only escape to this maximum amount of pressure that I'm feeling right now. And so the avoidant will just be like, you know what, fine, I think I just have to break up with them, because that will be an immediate relief to all of these emotions and this feeling of being stuck that I'm experiencing, okay? So what the avoidant will do is break up. They break up with the anxious and they'll be like, I can't do this anymore. And usually what the avoidant will experience is temporary relief. They'll feel very happy. They'll feel very free. They'll feel like themselves again. Like, I could do whatever I want this Saturday. Like, I could eat a bag of chips and no one can stop me. I could go on a date with 6 people and no one can stop me, right? But the reason I say this is temporary is because usually regret may surface once positive feelings start to return to the avoidantly attached individual and they start to realize, wait, I think I was in love with that anxious person, okay? And that usually happens, like I said, when they exit the freeze state, which is your dorsal vagal complex, and re-enter into the fight or flight state, which is your sympathetic nervous system, okay? Again, your fight or flight, you're mobilizing, you're constantly moving, trying to make yourself feel okay. And so when they're in that state, they can be more in tune with their emotions and will try to win you back or try to get back into your life or try to see if you're even interested. Now, obviously, the goal is to be in a peaceful, regulated state. It's challenging to get there for some if you've always been in fight or flight for a majority of your life. I did make another podcast episode on how to regulate your nervous system, so if you want to go check that out, I would recommend that. Otherwise, you can always share with me your story and we could talk about how to move on from your ex, how to regulate your nervous system. And I just want to hear your story and I can give you like more catered feedback. I do offer one-on-one video call coaching, so I'll leave a link for that down below. But anyway, those are the 5 steps, you guys. I do want to get into the Q&A session of this podcast. If you have a question for me, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram and I will answer your question on a podcast. So the first question is, how come my avoidant ex-girlfriend blocked me on all social media accounts that I could contact her on after a sudden breakup? She said I was a better person, while still following my mom on social media. My mom doesn't post anything, by the way. Will she ever return? That sucks. But at least your mom still has that connection, right? Sounds like your mom is the plug. So what I would say in this situation is many times avoidantly attached people will return in some way, shape, or form, either romantically, as a friend, or just because they're curious and want to know what's new with you in your life. The reason your ex probably blocked just you and not your mom is because your ex doesn't feel threatened by your mom. Your ex feels threatened by you. So creating a wall in between you guys in the virtual world on social media makes your ex feel safe, because now you can't reach out, you can't smother, you can't watch their story, you can't do anything to this person, your ex, on social media, and your ex now feels like they can recharge. So your ex is basically trying to create distance even in the breakup stage, and they feel like they can't. They feel like they still haven't been freed from you in the relationship. So blocking provides them with that freedom. So what I would do is just wait around, see if they unblock you, see if they reach out to you later. But honestly, like, actionable steps you could take today is just try to not go on social media as much. That will help you a lot. And then also try to just be with people, be with friends, be with family. Try to get your mind off of this person, because when you're around other people that support you and love you, it can really help you to move on in the most healthy way. All right, the next question is, Hey, so I've been watching your TikToks just to help me understand the situation I'm going through. So my ex broke up with me on Monday, so it was recent. He told me he thought he was having symptoms of avoidant attachment style, so he wanted to go work on himself and figure himself out. So we ended it. It's just so hard for me to understand, because now he's always on the phone. He's snapping other girls, probably texting them. How is that working on yourself? I'm just so confused. Is that normal for him to just leave and start talking to other girls? I guess I just really want to understand it. We have been doing no contact, and today I did see him at my sister's softball game, and he wouldn't even look at me. I don't know. I'm just lost. Well, first of all, I'm sorry you're going through a breakup. Especially when it's so fresh. It's never easy. It's like you wake up every day and you just hope and pray the reality is gonna be different, and when it's not different, you're like, shit, this sucks. Like, I have to go back to the point where we were together and everything was wonderful. So you're in fight or flight right now, because you're trying to mobilize, trying to make things right, trying to like look at who he's talking to, which, by the way, how do you know he's Snapchatting a bunch of different girls? Is it because he has a streak with them, or are you like logging into his account? Like, that's my first question. So obsessing and kind of being like an investigator, I would recommend not doing that. The fact that he is talking to other girls, maybe that's his way of moving on. Maybe that's his way of making new friends. Maybe that's his way of just getting his mind off of you. It's really none of your business. What I would recommend is try not to be so hurt, or try not to take it so personally when he's trying to build relationships with other people. Perhaps he's just trying to talk to other people to then get his mind cleared up to then come back to you. Or maybe he's trying to talk to other people because he wants to date someone new. At this point, you guys aren't married. You guys aren't dating. You don't control him. You don't own him. Even if you were married, you don't own him. He can do whatever he wants to do. So, especially that you guys aren't even in a relationship. So, I would let him go. I would let him do what he wants to do. Give him the freedom, give him the peace, give him whatever he wants. And my suggestion is try to focus on yourself. Kind of like what I said for the first person. Try to hang out with as many friends and just spend time with family, because that's going to take your mind off of him and keep your mind focused on what's important, which is surrounding yourself with people that love you and care about you, okay? I also would recommend reading my book, How to Get Over Your Avoidant Ex and Become Securely Attached. It's on Amazon for $11. I talk about my journey with trying to stop obsessing over an ex and just trying to heal my attachment style and become secure. And so that was like a 2-year-long journey for me, and it's still going on to this day. So if you're interested in that book, definitely you'll get a shortcut on how to heal and move on. So maybe that will help you. But anyway, that's it for this episode, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And again, I will see you in the next one. Bye.